Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Bakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that look like those heathens. And to the few akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. I'm going to open with a scripture, then I'm going to address this topic, which is easily corrected, because the truth of the matter is that Hannibal was what people would erroneously refer to as a black man. And he wasn't an African. He was actually an Israelite. All right. So there's been a lot of racial lies that have been told. And then when you tell the truth, they get offended. The truth offends the powers that be. All right. And I'm going to prove this. I'm going to, prove this case beyond a shadow of a doubt. But this is Isaiah? I'm looking for Isaiah 27:5. Is it 26? 25:7. There, that's what it is. This is Isaiah 25:7, and it reads, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil." I don't know why this thing just decides to move when I keep setting it up. All right. It says, "And the veil that is spread over all nations." I'll read that again. All right. This thing that want to stay put. And it reads, Isaiah 25:7, "And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations." All right, so let's go to a false witness. This guy here. This very effeminate individual who's of the, from looks of him, the Asian persuasion, but they're showing Septimius Severus. All right, I guess he's going about trying to debunk all the history that talks about the black emperors, the African emperors, who were Israelite emperors, and things of that nature. So let's let him speak and bear his false witness, and I'll prove his false witness just by the most important witness that there is known to man, which is the Holy Bible, which is the most accurate history book ever written. All right.
That Rome had a black emperor? Nope. By the way, this video is a sequel to my Is Hannibal Black video, which a lot of you guys liked. Anyway, during Black History Month,
of course, he said that Hannibal, in his video, he said that Hannibal was Phoenician. And then he showed a bunch of Arab people. So therefore, he was Semitic. All right, that goes to show you that these people are just complete and total liars, and they're trying to control the narrative. All right, because he's going to talk more about
progressives are propagating the narrative that history had been whitewashed. It has been, but they're pushing it way too much the other direction. And as a counter, they claimed that Emperor Septimius Severus's blackness had been suppressed until now. The evidence, well, he was born in Libya, which is in Africa, and thus he's black. And now he's an icon for African Americans. And
so this guy just seems to have a hard-on for trying to destroy the narrative as if the Africans, as if African people, the Hamites, because real Africans are Hamites, okay? The so-called black people that came here from Africa were not Hamites, they were Israelites, all right? They're not the same people. And it's amazing that you still have some people in the world still trying to push that false narrative. But anyone that was born in Africa, for the most part, prior to the rise of Rome and during the Grecian Empire, was an actual African. All right, it was Alexander of Macedon that changed the landscape of Africa in different parts of North Africa. And here's a map of Asia, because they lie about that too. They took the Western Asia and called it the Middle East, when there's no such thing. Hold on, let me get my pointer. All right, but putting this map up, all right, what you're looking at, all this here is, the what they fraudulently call the Middle East. So the area in dispute right now is here, Tunisia, and there's Libya. And as a matter of fact, all of Africa was of the sons of Ham, and all of Western Asia, for the most part, were also the sons of Ham. Ham was way up into here, all the way up into Iraq and Iran, which is Iran was Babylon, was ancient Babylon. So the Hamites had pretty much all this because the Israelites had to push them all out of here. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. So now that we saw that evidence, all right, that it's actually sitting in Africa, because what he has to say doesn't matter anymore. So let's go to these coins. So here are coins, all right, and here are coins of Hannibal Barca. But then you see these coins here, which I don't know if it's the same side, you know, of this one. You look at here, this one, of a white guy in Hannibal Barca. So if this be the case, they truly whitewashed them, all right? But these coins are legit and real, all right? The ones that I'm pointing at. And you can clearly see that those are what you call the so-called black man, all right? Okay? You can clearly see them from the, from the time period. And there's that one again with the guy with a white face, which could still be a real coin. We'll tell you why, because you got to remember, Alexander of Macedon in the book of Maccabees, when he took over all of Asia, all right, let's put Asia up again. When he took over all of Asia, all right, well, now they call this Western Asia the Middle East, he also set up Ptolemies in Egypt, all right? And I'm sure that the Ptolemies expanded out and lightened up everyone in the area for the most part, which is why so many so-called black people get angry when they talk about Cleopatra, because remember, Cleopatra is a title, not a name, and there were many of them, all right? And they were all so-called white people. Why? Well, white women. Why? Because they were daughters. They were in the bloodline of Ptolemy. They were in that bloodline. You got, in First Maccabees, it talks about, Alexander and his 4 trusted generals, all right? And his one and the one that he set up over Egypt was Ptolemy. And they like to show Egyptian history from the time of the Ptolemies and not of the sons of Mizraim, the actual Hamites, the real, what you would call Africans. They just pretend that they don't exist, even though all the evidence of their existence is there prior to all the white images of Egyptians and etc. They just want to ignore it. All right, so it's really, really important to look at all this. Okay, and remember, the thing in question today is Tunisia, is where Hannibal came from. All right, and that Africa is the land of Ham, the Hamites. It's funny how they acknowledge that Canaan, the son of Ham's son Canaan, was black, because that's the reason why black people went into slavery, or that portion of black people. But Ham had 3 other sons. All right, and guess what? The Phoenicians were sons of Ham. Okay, not Semitic people at all. So there's somebody's lying here. So let's go here. Let's go to the Zondervan's Compact Dictionary Bible. All right, and let's read. This is on a page, the very book that you're looking at. Hold on, these books are very fragile because I've got the Youngs too, and they're both falling apart because they're both almost 15 years old and been used a lot. All right. But on page 213, it reads, Ham, perhaps Hot, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and was one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. All right, so the Negroes were dark, but not sons of Ham. Okay, Hannibal Barca was dark, but he was not a son of Ham. All right, And it says, but the Egyptians, all right, were in Egypt. Those are sons of Ham, Africans, so-called black people, all right? Hamitic, Negroid type people for that matter, all right? The Ethiopians, all right, they're still around today, so you can't deny that they're Africans. Well, guess what? The Phoenicians are brothers to the Ethiopians, not to any Shemitic family. The Phoenicians, all right, though they spoke the Hebrew, they were Africans, all right? What you would call, okay, the Libyans in Libya and the Canaanites. So he's calling these people in his video, all right, his other video, the same little Asian guy with the like almost sounds like a Irish or English accent, all right? He was calling them Shemitic people or Semites. There's no such thing as a Sem. So they, there was no son named, there was no man named Sem. There was a man named Shem, all right? And Shem means name. That's what it means. And the Phoenicians were not Shemitic people. Okay, so what they like to do is that people like this guy, they, that guy, this little guy who got caught in the lie, this guy, they look at a people that are in land masses today and then try to determine that those are, just like they look at the people in Europe, but there's all sorts of evidences that the people in Europe were not white at all, not until Alexander took over. All right, that's how Europeans became so-called white, when Alexander and his armies conquered. Prior to that, the evidence that was left behind, all right, the hardcore evidence, proves that the people, the Etruscans, the Minoans, the sons of Japhet, they were melanated people, dark flesh people. Okay, let's get a scripture. This is Psalms 85 and 11. And it reads, truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. All right, and that truth springing out of the earth are the relics that were found that prove certain points. So now let's go to the next witness and prove this guy, all right, this guy, Dennis Fang, at Dennis Fang. Dennis Fang is a liar, all right, or he's just reading whitewashed history and believing upon it, all right. Nevertheless, whether it's his lie or someone else's lie, he's speaking lies that are not true and trying to get around truth with lies. So let's go now to the Young's Bible Dictionary. This one, which I really like, the Young's, especially its definition of ham. Okay, so let's find ham. And it's actually on 2 pages because it's at the bottom of 255. And then you have to turn the page to finish it on 256. All right? So let's read closely. It says, a son of Noah and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. All right? Now remember, Mizraim is the father of the Egyptians. All right? And the Phoenicians were, is Mizraim. Okay? And Put is the father of Libya, all right? Because in the Zondervan's, it called Put Libya. So we just read two different dictionary Bibles from scholars that point out that the Libyans are from the Hamitic son, the curse of Ham. Remember, Canaan's father. Canaan got cursed Ham. The other way around, excuse me. Ham cursed Canaan, all right? But his son Put, or Libya, dwelled right here. So all of Africa, Ethiopia down here, these were the sons of Ham. Dark flesh people, Kenyans, Tanzania, all these different places, all right? So, let's finish the definition. It says, a son of Noah, father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on all 4 of these, while they all may have been dark skinned. They were all definitely dark skinned. They are not the forefathers of the Negroid races. So once again, the so-called black people, then who are they? We know they're not Japhetic, and they're not Hamitic. They can only be Shemites. That's the only one left. That's the big secret. Okay? But it says, but rather associated with Egypt and the north continent of Africa. In the north of the continent of Africa, Egyptians thought Canaan as one of their provinces, even into the very latter time. So, where is the land of Canaan? The son that got cursed, because all of the rest of Ham's sons were in Africa, but Canaan was all in what they fraudulently and falsely call the Middle East, which was the land of Canaan. This was the land that the Israelites had to take. Babylon was way over here in Iran. All right? And the Hamites they had all this area up here. All right? Esau got scattered up to here and then came back. Remember, he was, there's Macedonia right there. All right? So the Edomites got dominion, much later. But nevertheless, right here in Western Asia, right next to Egypt, put Canaan, the sons of Ham, dwelt in Tunisia, where Barca came from, and Libya. So this man has been proven, to be a liar. All right? And many like him, they're still trying to uphold that lie. Now, let's go to the Bible and see how this matches up in the Bible. We read the Bible dictionaries, what the group of biblical scholars put together. All right. Now we're going to go to the source itself. All right. And the reason why it's causing a controversy, because it's the truth. And you have to remember, we live in a world where Esau Edom, the so-called white man, has lied about who he is and lied about history, which is why it's so devastating when things like this come out or talked about, all right, and they get angry. Remember, they continually try to make the Vikings and I just did a video yesterday showing you same evidences that the medieval time in the Dark Ages was ruled by so-called black people. So-called black people were ruling Europe at the fall of Rome. All right, when Rome finally did fall, okay? But let's go to Genesis, the 10th chapter, just to prove that the Phoenicians were sons of Ham, so-called Africans, all right? So this is Genesis, the 10th chapter, around the 13th or 14th verse, all right? And it reads, and that's the actor, what's his name? Pedro Pascal, which is a great actor. This guy's a really good actor. I like him. He says this piece about the recasting of why people making a big deal out of it. But what he should have been saying is that this is actually true. All right, he shouldn't have been defending, coming at the critics for, what he should have been doing is correcting the critics. All right, but nevertheless, this is Genesis 10 and 13, and it reads, and Mizraim, that was your Egyptians, a son of Ham, a Hamite. Remember the curse of Ham. All right, Ham cursed his son Canaan. All right, Ham didn't have, Canaan wasn't his own, all his sons were black, so-called. All right, all of them. Mizraim, Put, Canaan, all right, and Cush, the Ethiopians, all right? But it says, Genesis 10 and 13, and Mizraim begot Lud, and Anaman, and Lebanon, and Tuham, all right? So that's 4 sons, all right? And then Pashran, Kassalam, out of whom came Philistim. Philistim, all right? All right, the Philistines, all right, were what you call Palestinians today, or ancient Phoenicians. All right. So, a matter of fact, on that video, and this is some evidence that Apostle Ramlab's seen me. Someone left this comment, and the comment reads, all right, and this was from user, well, they didn't really give a name. The Phoenicians were Israelite Canaanite confederacy, which sounds about right. All right, because they intermingled and mixed. All right, before Israel came into the land of the Canaanites. Canaan meant merchant. Well, I have to look that up. I don't think that's what it meant. It says, were successful maritime traders. When Israel took over the land, they took over the trade and the name Phoenicians, though they never referred to themselves as Phoenicians, so I don't know that. Afterwards, Israelite nobility, as a head of Phoenician confederacy, founded Carthage. Now that, I know that a lot of Israelites were in Carthage. That is true. All right, remember the Lord fled into Egypt. Moses fled into Egypt. Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. The Israelites, as a matter of fact, when Jacob died, the Hamites, all right, spoke about how there was a great mourning in Israel because all these Israelites were dressed in like the Egyptians, and mourning the loss of Jacob, or was it was either Jacob or Joseph? I forget. All right, someone can put that scripture on the comment board. You know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so the Israelites were being mistaken for Egyptians. All right, so that 100% proves that they were not so-called white people, because Egyptians today don't look like white people. All right, even though it's a lot of Ishmaelites intermixed with with people that are there, they still don't look like white people. All right, but it says, remember that Israel put Egyptians, Greek, Romans, and many groups resided in North Africa, and he's right. It was and North Africa was like being in New York or Chicago today, just as Rome was, just as even Jerusalem at a certain time. All right, because of the Roman, the Roman control over that whole area, over all of North Africa, over all of Western Asia. And then, of course, the Edomites had dominion over Europe at that time. Okay? So, this man, let's go back to him. Let's put his face up. Dennis Fang. Dennis Fang is pushing fabricated history. And many so-called white people are subscribing to him and listening to him and believe him. All right? But the truth is being, it's coming out. There's nothing that can be done about it. All right? As a matter of fact, let's get one more scripture, and close this out. And that scripture will be 2 Ezra 6:28. All right? Because you can't get around this. All right? And they try, you just can't get around it no matter how hard you try. Okay? And that's in other different times, and it's like when the time of the Maccabees, there's similar coins like that. All right? Judicopter and all the Phoenician or the ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right? But yeah, let me get 2 Ezra real quick. 6:27. And it reads, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And that's because we're at the end, and the truth is coming out. All right? So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham, Kakwadash, and Kwam Yasharala. Do you know this also proves, too, that all the myths about, sub-Saharan and subhuman, they were printing coins, man. This means they had control over art and printing presses and things of that nature. So they've completely and totally lied about both Africans and Israelites. All right? Shalom.